Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this week's MENA Masterclass. And this week, we're going to be talking a little bit about making the most of your MENA, IAB MENA membership. It's obviously your session, so we're here to answer any questions. If you've got any thoughts about what we could be doing, what we should be doing, more than happy to talk about that towards the end of the presentation. My suggestion was to just go through a little bit about the background to IAB MENA, what we're trying to achieve, how we go about it, and then open the floor to you to ask any questions or make any suggestions of how we should go forward into the future. So these sessions, just so you know, are recorded and it will be available so you can share with colleagues, friends, partners, whatever it might be. These will be available on the YouTube channel within a day or two. So without further ado, let me give you a little bit of background into what IAB MENA is all about, what we're trying to achieve, and how you can make the most of your membership, should you be a member already. So the first thing to say is we're a non-profit corporate association. So what that means is that although obviously we generate revenue, and we'll talk a little bit about how we do that in a moment, we do generate revenue, but all the revenue that we generate is with the express purpose of reinvesting in the industry, in the MENA digital advertising economy. So the board, a number of years ago, spent a lot of time really trying to figure out where we could add value and how we could work together as an industry to grow. And really we focus on a couple of key things. So it's about nurturing the community, so bringing people together around common causes, accelerating knowledge sharing, which, as you'll see today, is really where we spent most of our efforts and energies, establishing or at least sharing accountability standards, and really trying to build trust and credibility in the digital marketing industry. So we are not, we don't have conditions under which membership operates that you have to implement certain tools or technologies in order to be a member, but we do try and encourage our members to operate in a specific way, which is around trust, developing trust in the industry, developing transparency in the industry, and hoping to build credibility in digital advertising, both from a corporate point of view, from an advertising point of view, but also with consumers as well. So that's really what we're setting out to do, and everything that we do is around trying to work together as an industry to achieve these objectives. To give you a bit more context, the IAB is, I think, 30, 40 years old now. It was originally set up by a group of publishers in the US, and they built it out of the need to establish standards around advertising formats. That's the original idea was around, can the industry work together to generate growth by creating standards around formats? Obviously expanded dramatically since then. A lot of work is done in markets like the US, like Europe, and others around policy, privacy laws, and so forth. That's not really what we felt was the right thing to do within our market. So we're focused much more around generating local content, local knowledge, and local knowledge sharing, more importantly. So each chapter does do slightly different things, and you can benefit to some degree from other chapters, but your membership is very much around the MENA ecosystem. To give you an idea of the number of members we have, members are at a corporate level, not an individual level. We don't have any individual members. They're all corporates. We now have around 80 members. We started in 2020, which, if you remember correctly, was the beginning of COVID. So the first year or two was very much kind of foundational, building up, our back-end processes, putting in place, our internal policies, et cetera, and really we started to accelerate in generating outputs and getting members on board from about 2022 onwards. So it's a relatively new organization within this region at any rate. But I think we've done a lot of work to try and create some credibility in the work that we do. We'll talk a little about how we do that in a second. But really, we've had a lot of interest in what we're doing and a lot of engagement from many, many companies across the whole ecosystem. So without those companies, we would be nothing. So thank you to those companies, and including the companies that you work for that have perhaps more recently joined. So it's been a sort of continuous trajectory of growth, really accelerating, like I said, over the past couple of years. We're expecting to have in the region of 85 members by the end of our fiscal year, which is March next year. And we continue to grow. Where are we seeing growth? Just as an anecdote, interestingly, we're seeing it within the sort of medium to small agency space. A lot of interest from those from that category, I guess you could call it, because they're scaling. They're doing well. They're starting to expand their influence within the marketplace. So we're seeing a lot of new members in that space. We're seeing a lot of new members in ad tech, in particular, either from locally grown ad tech or from market, from market leaders in other markets that have entered into the region. So that's kind of where we're seeing most of the growth at this stage. So we represent the whole ecosystem. What we like to see is the bulk of the ecosystem. So from the buy side, particularly the agency space, about 25% of our members are what we consider agency. About 25% of our members are publishers or sales houses, and the remainder are primarily tech companies, like I said, mainly ad tech, and some research companies and the like. So that's kind of how it's split up in the main. And we've seen that that's remained relatively constant over time, with the exception, as I said, of the growth in ad tech in particular, and we're seeing more agencies come on board. Got 3 tiers of membership: associate, general, and premium. Won't go into the great details here. You know what you are, I guess. But the associate membership was very specifically set up to allow everybody within the marketplace to have a voice. What we didn't want to be was just the voice of the big players. We want to make sure that we are representing the whole ecosystem. And actually, that sort of associate level, often startups, often companies outside of Dubai, Lebanon, for example, or Morocco, or these, sort of lower budget markets, just as important for the future of our industry, if not more important in some ways. So very, very conscious that the associate level is a very important level. They get the same rights in terms of opportunity to take part, the same engagement, etc., as everybody else. And I think that's a really important principle under which we operate. The benefits are relatively simple. It's about collaboration. It's about creating an environment in which companies that are sometimes competitors or perhaps suppliers in other cases can collaborate together using a framework that prevents collusion. So it's all above board, all transparent, and that gives you an opportunity to tackle things in the marketplace that perhaps companies would not be able to tackle on their own or would not have the credibility to do so. Opportunity to inspire. Obviously, there's some fantastic people within our industry. There's fantastic companies and lots of inspiration that's available. And this allows people to not only take part in some of that, but to engage with other like-minded individuals as well. A lot of the work we're doing is around learning. We try not to just take global products or resources and just localize them. We try and create local as much as we can. We feel it's very important, both in the process of learning, so actually creating the work is a great way to learn. And any of those of you who have been involved in the task forces will have experienced that. But also we want to make sure that everything that we produce for the region is bespoke for the region, is relevant for the region, and is housed within the region, if that makes any sense. It's not to say that we don't bring global learnings into market. Of course we do that, but really our focus is on generating local knowledge. And obviously the opportunity for individuals and companies to grow, expand your knowledge, to expand your network, to engage with other people, and to learn along the way as well. We have very strong governance in place, as you can imagine, not only as a non-profit organization, but as an industry body. It's important that there is some clear governance, that we are not being led down one path versus another path simply because of louder voices in the room, etc. So the board really is responsible for governance. The board is made up of 15 companies, 15 seats. It's currently set at 15. Each company is elected out of a pool of premium members twice a year. The next election is February 2026. The board is quoted, so 5 members maximum can be from the agency group, 5 from tech, and 5 from publisher or sales house. And it's designed in that way to try and ensure that it's not just the big players, because in most cases, there aren't necessarily 5 big players in certain cases, or to make sure that at least that there is a cross check of what's important for the industry. If it was just, for example, don't mean anything by this, but if it was just 15 tech companies, obviously we would be doing very different things to if it was just 15 agencies, for example. It's very much making sure that there's equal voice within that, and those companies are very much tasked with putting forward people on that board who believe in that and who want to operate in that way, which over the past few years, I would be pleased to say is exactly how it works. There's lots of robust debate, there's lots of discussion, but there's also a clear view that this organization is about the industry and not about individuals or about individual companies. So really that's what the board's there to do. If your company is not on this board, which I guess it's probably not in this case, you can take part in board elections as a premium member, so you'd have to upgrade to premium in time for February elections. All general members and premium members are able to vote for those particular board companies. One of the things we were very conscious about when we set up IAB in this region was we didn't want to be a talking shop. Yes, talking is important, but we didn't want to be just about that, and we didn't want it just to be about networking. We wanted to focus on outputs, and I think I've touched on this a little bit already. Very much producing work for the market, by the market. So everything that we do is geared around, is this going to generate something that's useful for the market, in perpetuity? So 2024 was an example of the kinds of productions that we created collectively. Did a number of guides and reports. So, guide to attention. So not just saying what is attention, but what is attention within the MENA space? Who are the players within MENA? Who's actually operating within the market? What is actually available in terms of data, etc. So really trying to break it down into the regional relevance. Same with privacy, very much like, yes, GDPR, you could just apply that locally, but actually there are local privacy regulations, and what are those and how do they compare to, for example, GDPR? So very much trying to bring to life the local perspective. I won't read through all of these, but to give you an idea, those are the kinds of things that we're producing on the guides and reports side. These are produced collectively, so multiple companies coming together to crowd share knowledge, to double check each other, to bring knowledge and to question knowledge, and then we package it into a sort of a view for the marketplace. Did the same thing around insights, so tried to produce areas of insight that wasn't available at the time. So what's happening in terms of AI adoption, for example, and I think we were a bit ahead of our time when we brought that out. It was quite low actually, was the results. What's happening with data privacy? Do people understand it? Are they implementing it? How does it work? Attitudes to programmatic. We do this every couple of years to get a sense of how programmatic attitudes have shifted, whether people are understanding the opportunities that programmatic provides, etc. And of course, our annual ad spend survey, which we release every June, which is kind of our flagship product. We have about 20 to 30 companies contributing to that. We use a lot of modeling work, we do a lot of mathematics as well to try and figure out what is happening within the ad spend space, specifically within MENA. We also do masterclasses. So like today, obviously this is a bit internally focused, but these sessions are run every 2 weeks, typically the middle and the last Wednesday of the month. And individual companies are able to step forward and actually present knowledge that they have that's relevant for the market. So they're not sales opportunities. We don't allow any sales pitches except this one. But we do actually encourage them to share research that they might have done or other insights that they might have on the shelf that they feel is helpful and useful to share with the marketplace. So we provide the platform and our members provide the knowledge. MENA Voices is a similar principle where we allow or at least encourage individuals within our member base to provide their own opinions on matters. So it's not crowdsourced in the way that, say, the guides and reports are done. It's individuals giving their own individual opinions rather than sort of collecting those opinions together and creating an overarching view. It's a slightly different approach. I'll come to events in a moment, but we do a number of events throughout the year that you can take part in. And ecoscapes, which started off as something very simple and have actually proved to be one of the most well-loved things that we do, which is really pulling together who are the actual players in the marketplace around a specific area. So whether it's ad tech or retail media, CTV, etc., and who's actually in market, boots on the ground, engaging in the marketplace, rather than passing through or having offerings that you can collect from other markets. Really important to understand who's investing in the market versus who has offerings that are available in the market. Not quite the same thing. So again, that's proved to, we've had a lot of positive feedback on that. And these change rapidly, which is also very interesting. So a lot of development in these particular spaces. So really creates an opportunity for people to talk around their investment plans in the region. And I've had good feedback on these, both from within the region and actually companies outside the region who are looking to invest. Go, right, we know what the landscape looks like. For 2025, very similar. I won't go through all of these, but you will have started to see some of these filter through. Again, very similar strategy. What guides and reports can we put out? What insights can we put out? Which opinions should we be showcasing? What events have we got and other initiatives in place? Our shift from 24 to 25 was very much around less guides and reports, or at least the same number of guides and reports, but really more opportunities around events. So in-person events were more in 2025 than they were in 2024, and there probably will be more again in 26 than 25. And looking at other initiatives that don't fit into these categories. So one area, for example, is a mentorship program. So we're looking to develop, or we have developed, we just haven't released it yet, a mentorship program that helps mentors be better mentors. So gives them a certification at the end of it. The idea would be that they would go through a month-long, a series of trainings by experts in mentorship to really equip the next generation of leaders within our marketplace for being better leaders and better mentors to their people and therefore our people. So these are the kinds of things that we're starting to look at. We're starting to put more of our content into Arabic, particularly useful in markets like Egypt and Saudi and other GCC markets. We haven't done all of them yet, but we are starting to work through which of them make sense to go into Arabic, which can stay in English. So we are looking to be a little bit more locally relevant in that space too. Every year at our General Assembly, we ask our members a number of questions. One of which is, how likely are you to recommend membership? It's overwhelmingly positive. Our members generally feel that they do get value out of their interactions with the association and obviously the other members. And every year we ask about, our plans for the following year. Which things do we need to tweak? Which things do we need to increase? Should we do more on AI? Was there enough on AI already? Are we not going to add new value in that space? So which of the areas should we be focusing on? And which of those generate most value for the members? Excuse me. I want to talk a little bit about how we deliver all of this. We don't have a big team of people, as you probably know. It's very much developed in a collaborative and sort of crowdsourced way, I suppose, is the best way to put it. And for this, we have task forces. So the task forces are set up. We've got 9 task forces currently. They meet usually every second week around a specific topic, around a specific output. So I mentioned earlier on in the session, it's all about outputs for us. We define the output very early on in the process. So for example, we'll say what we're trying to achieve is a guide to programmatic digital out of home by X date. And then we work towards that as a group. So it's very much led by an output. It's not, let's get together and discuss programmatic out of home, for example. So it is very much around that. Yes, the first meeting or two is like, let's get alignment between what are the things that the industry needs, but then we very quickly shift to action. So it's pens, it's pens on paper, for want of a term, It's hands-on, rolling the sleeves up, people actually contributing and engaging with it. So we find, to be honest, we start off with lots of people in the task force. By the end, there's a lot less. People are busy, that's understandable. But also, I think a lot of people think that it's just a talking opportunity, a networking opportunity. It's not. It's very much actually engaging and delivering value to the process. So we're looking for experts. We're looking for people who want to learn from colleagues. I love the task forces. I learn so much out of them. People are very open with their knowledge usually, and it really helps deliver locally relevant and valuable content for the marketplace. As I said, there are 9 that cover the sort of broad areas: ad tech, audio, CTV, out of home, gaming, retail, insights, measurement, and personal development. If there's nothing if there's nothing being worked on, we don't meet. So we don't meet for the sake of meeting. We first determine what the output is, and then we meet accordingly to deliver that. And there's some that we don't have enough companies engaged in over a long enough period in order to deliver something that we believe is market relevant. So gaming, interestingly, has been one we've struggled to get going, and audio is the other. So if you're interested in gaming or audio, let me know. Desperate to get both of those back up and running. But at the moment, we don't have enough companies engaged in those 2 topics to meet on a regular basis to produce anything. But all the others are operational, are actually busy working on projects, which you can ask me about later, and are looking to deliver further things either in the rest of 2025 or early into 26. Briefly touched on the masterclass series, another area that you can get involved in, which is presenting in webinars such as this, knowledge or insights that your company may have. We only launched it in 2024. We did it started off as a trial. It was very successful. People loved it. The way it works is exactly the way that this one works, is that we have a short presentation, a bit of a discussion. Some people attend live, but we do record them. We put them on both our website and on the YouTube channel, and we find that that's actually where most of the people are watching them at a later stage. So it is a very useful way of actually disseminating knowledge and insights through the marketplace across the whole region. Just to give you an idea of the kinds of things that have been covered, everything from travel insights that Sojourn did for us through audio, that Publicis did, full funnel marketing impact that is going to be doing in a couple of weeks' time. We did gaming recently with Ampverse, etc. So a lot of different companies stepping forward to say, hey, I know something, I've got stuff that I'm prepared to share that will be useful for the marketplace, and they're volunteering an hour of their time to do this. I'll leave that up there. There are QR codes if you want to just make a note of that, but obviously you can get the presentation afterwards as well. And you can see what the schedule is. It obviously changes regularly. You could put yourself forward to present any of them, or you can go back and watch some of the older sessions. Second thing that we did that was about nurturing the community was set up what we call In Conversation With coffee mornings. And there's one actually coming up on 9th of October. We only did 2 a year now. We narrowed it down. The plans were originally to do more. We felt that two was enough. One in the first half of the year, one in the second half of the year, and they're focused on wellness topics. So really trying to look at the people behind the technology. So we're not all about just business. It's also about, hey, there's people, battling, doing things on a daily basis to do this business. The next one is going to be around building authenticity through, multi-generational workplaces, which I guess we're all experiencing. We've done others on empathy. We've done others on recognizing and managing burnout. Very useful sessions, small, in person, at a member office. We bring an expert in, we have a chat, we have some coffee. It's just a really nice networking occasion around topics that I think are really important for us to be talking about as an industry, because it's all about our people ultimately, not just about the technology. So you're welcome to take part in some of those, equally to attend accordingly. In terms of big annual events, we have sort of 4 or 5 a year, depending on the year. Typically, we have a big event in late January, early February, which is the General Assembly. And that's really an opportunity for all members to come together to talk about what do you want to achieve for the year, what did we achieve for the last year, and what else can the IAB be doing to support the growth of the industry going forward. Every second year, this is also supported by the board elections, as it will be in February next year. So next year we will elect the 2-year board for the 26-28 period. The second sort of batch is in the second quarter, which is usually 2 big events. A growth summit, which I think maybe some of you might have attended this year, which is an all-day event covering multiple topics relating to how do we support and what is happening in terms of growth within the region as we see it today. Last year, we covered topics from AR through to CTV through programmatic out of home. Next year, maybe we'll cover different topics, but it's a really big opportunity to talk about the growth of the marketplace and what we can do to support it. The second big event is in June, usually the first week of June, which is the ad spend release, which I've talked about a little bit earlier. That's a very well attended event as well. The final kind of major event for the year tends to be in October. Last year we didn't actually have it for practical reasons. Previous year we did CTV. This year we're doing the Publisher Summit, and I encourage you all to sign up for that. This year it's open to non-members as well. So that's not always the case. Most of these others that I've spoken about are for members only, except in conversation with, but the October event around the Publisher Summit will be open to members and non-members this year. So what does this mean? What members? We want you to get involved in the task forces, help lead the industry, help create create the solutions, create the resources that the industry needs. When work is produced or when opportunities to attend events, for example, come your way, please share those within your networks. It's important that we get people at these events. It's important that people see the resources that we're producing. It's all good for the industry. Contribute to the ad spend survey. The more detail we get into the ad spend survey, the more detail we can release. So even if you don't know what the overall spend behind social media is for 2025, or whatever the case might be, you might know a small piece of information that is useful to help with the modeling of, I don't know, whatever it might be, programmatic something or some format or other that we want to look at. So every piece of information that you have is useful. We use it both in terms of modeling and in terms of the estimations that go into some of the assumptions that are made. And then once it come out, back it. This is an important piece of information for the market. It shows how big the market is. It shows the robustness of the market. It shows where the growth is taking place, brings investment into the market, and obviously helps you when you're making investment cases to hire more people or put more technology in place as well. So back the survey, contribute to it as much as you can. And be an advocate for IAB MENA. Support the initiatives that we do. Contribute to the debates that we have about what initiatives we should do, and help us create this thriving ecosystem. One of the areas that I think we're weak on is we're not as regional as we would like to be. We're still very Dubai-centric. It's not on purpose. It's just worked out that way. And so you can help us by distributing the resources into other markets where you can. And that'll create some credibility, that'll get people involved, and has a sort of virtuous positive effect. There is a member logo if you want to use it to proudly state, yeah, we are members of the IAB MENA. This is meaningful. You can access this member logo. Just let me know and I can send it to you. It's not currently available for download on the website, but you can just let me know and I'll send it to you. There's a number of sort of bookmarks that maybe you want to put in place. Follow us on LinkedIn. We put a lot of the information that we have on LinkedIn. There's an events calendar on the website, which gives you an idea of at least the main events that are coming up, so you can follow that. We distribute through newsletters, so obviously not everyone in the market is on the newsletter. So if you're on it, share it with your teams, share it with your clients, etc. Task forces. You do need to join a task force if you wish to. That's all available again on the website. And then there's a number of sort of resources that are available again from the website is probably the easiest place. And if you want to take a note of this chart, that should give you quick links into that. But it's all on the website. It's really easy to find, to be honest.